General member. Thank you, Jim. Meeting, September 12th, 2023, much to my amazement. So, first thing we're gonna do, because we're not gonna do Pledge of Allegiance, is go through the roll call. And if any of you guys notice somebody comes way after, they should know somebody. I'll probably make this announcement later to put themselves in the chat. Okay, so here we go. Bermuda Riviera, Beverly Heights, Birch Park.
We still have people joining.
Yeah, Gustavo here.
Okay, wait a minute. Gustavo, did you just say yes? Say, did I hear
Yes.
him? Okay. Breakwater Homes. Central Beach. Let me point out that our District 2 Commissioner is having his campaign kickoff tonight, so we're gonna probably be missing at the beginning many District 2 civic leaders.
Central Beach just joined.
Central Beach, okay, thank you. Central City Alliance, Cooley Hammett, Coral Ridge Country Club, Coral Ridge Association.
Here.
Oh, there's Abby, good. Coral Ridge Isles,
Here. Rick.
okay, got your Rick. Coral Shores,
Hi, Rick.
Coral Shores, Croissant Park,
Here.
thank you. Dolphin Isles, Downtown, Edgewood, Flagler Village,
Here.
Galt Mile, Golden Heights, Harbordale Civic,
Here.
Harbor Beach, Harbor Inlet,
Here.
Historic Dorsey, Home Beautiful, Idlewild, Imperial Point,
Yeah.
Lake Air. Did I hear yes? Okay. Lake Ridge. He will be here. Landing. Lauderdale Beach. Lauderdale Harbors. Lauderdale Isle.
Present.
Lauderdale Manors. Give me a second. Lauderdale Isle Civic Association. Yeah,
Yes, present.
okay, Mass. Melrose Manors. Middle River Terrace. Nurmi Isles,
Yeah, present.
Nurmi Isles, okay.
Yes.
Palmer Village, 1. Poinsettia,
Here.
Poinciana. Progresso,
Here.
Rio Vista,
Present.
River Garden Sweeting, Riverland Preservation Society, Riverland,
Gardens is here.
pardon?
River Gardens is here.
Oh, thank you, Jack. Is it Jacqueline?
Yes.
Okay. Riverland Preservation, River Landings, River Oaks,
Here.
cool. Riverside Park, Rock Island,
Here.
Sailboat Bend, Seven Isles, Shady Banks, Sunrise Intercoastal,
Here,
South Middle River,
Here.
Tarpon River,
Here. Here.
right, and Victoria Park. Okay. That takes care of that.
Did you get Central Beach Alliance?
yeah, I got you. John, I got you.
Who is is that?
It's John Burns, Central Beach.
Okay, there we got you. All right, so let me get rid of this. All right, so we're gonna get going here. Our first speaker is Ashley Dessard. She's the Strategic Communications Manager for the city. And Ashley, if you have a presentation, I don't know if you do or not, let me know. But
I do.
do you?
Yes.
All right, so give me a little second. Come on. Jim, I think you have to take your screen share down for a second. Okay, and let me find Ashley. It's just, I have you as Ashley on here. Like that. So undo. Jim, I think you as a host have to make her the host.
Okay, hang on.
Okay. Bear with us. We haven't done this for a while.
We
No
were
problem.
rusty.
Well, while you're all working on that, I just want to say thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be able to speak to all of you. I am the communications manager for the city, and I'm going to go through a little bit about what my office does and our outreach. But I do have kind of a little interactive thing I wanted to do, so I could see how best to communicate to our neighbors. So I'm gonna throw up a code on the screen, and I'm gonna have you guys rank for me what the best way you would like to receive communication from the city is. I know not everybody has social media, not everybody is checking our website all the time, so I want to get a way for you guys to rank for me what the most effective form of communication is for you. So let me
Okay,
see.
I think I have you, Jim. I guess I have to do that. And Ashley, we now have you as the host.
She
Yeah,
has, right.
See.
Okay.
Let me see if I can present this.
There you are.
Okay. So are you seeing my screen now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. So what I want you to do is you can do this on your phone. You can do this on your computer screen. Just open up a browser. If you go to menti.com, menti.com, and then you enter this code right here, 3960810. Looks like 3 of you are on there now. And I'm not going to rush you. We'll look at the results of this at the end of my presentation, but I just want to make sure that you all take a look at this. And there are several different forms of communication that we have, and I just want you to rank them for me in order. If there's a form of communication you don't use, don't worry about it, don't rank it, but put them in order of the ones that you feel are the most effective for you and your neighborhood for getting information from the city. I'm going to give it just another minute or two with this screen up, and then I'll go to my presentation and we'll take a look at the results when that's it.
Oh,
I don't know how many people we have on the call here, but there's about 19 people in the survey right now. I think that's a pretty good number. So I can always give you this code again later, but I just want to make sure I give everybody a minute. So, all right, I'm going to stop sharing that screen. And then I have my other presentation I'm going to pull up. Okay, so strategic communications. Hopefully you will be able to hear this presentation as well.
Ashley, it's going pretty quick and there's no audio.
Oh, there's no audio? Okay, it's just
No.
music. So I will, I'll just
And it's-
move on to the next.
Yeah, it's going really, really fast.
We'll just,
No, you're not muted.
okay.
There you go.
That was just a quick video kind of highlight reel of some of the stuff that we've done throughout the last year. I did a quick presentation to the commission back in February, highlighting some of the videos and stuff that we do. We air those on our social media pages and on FLTV, so you can see some of the work that we've done there. My team consists of the webmaster, graphic designer for the city, social media. We also have specialists who work with each of the departments of the city to get information out. So for example, Diana Diaz works with Public Works. She works very closely with them on projects that they're doing to get notifications out to neighbors if there are projects happening in your neighborhood. Excuse me. They're happening in your neighborhood. If there's going to be any kind of interruption with traffic flow or things like that. Brady DeLander works with transportation and mobility, as well as development services. Excuse me. And Brendan Nieto does all of our amazing video work. We try to utilize as many avenues as we can to reach people in the city. Our office obviously does. Sorry? Okay.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
We do public outreach and marketing, internal communications for city employees, as well as external communications to our neighbors, video production, social media, branding, graphic design, and also special events. We recently did the ribbon cutting for the new police department headquarters. And we're working on the state of the city that's upcoming next month. And you know, work with the commission and their staffs to get those done. There are several ways that we utilize to reach out directly to neighbors. A couple of those are on social media. I encourage you all to get on Nextdoor. I'm sure as involved as this group is, I'm sure you guys are getting information from us in a variety of ways. I want to really push our email updates. We send those out to each of you. Hopefully you're on the email list. If you don't feel like you're getting those emails, please let me know, because I want to make sure that you're getting everything that we're sending. It is possible, because it comes from strategicommunications@fortlauderdale.gov. It's possible because we're sending it through a third-party site that it could be getting stuck in a spam filter. Make sure that you're getting those updates. Alert FTL is something we utilize, especially during storm season, hurricanes and things like that. We also send boil water notices through those. If your neighborhood is under a boil water notice, then you can get notified that way. Event advisories and things like that. If we're going to be shutting down streets, like the Central Beach Alliance will probably know about that. If we're going to be shutting down streets in the area, there's a lot of really important information that you can get right to your phone. You can choose how you want it to come to you, whether it's your phone, by text, someone calling you, emailing you. You can choose the way that you get notified. Some frequent communications that we send out: city events. We'll let you know about everything that's going on. You know, Parks does an amazing job putting on some great city events, so we'll send those out. Traffic advisories. We do project outreach and updates. We recently sent out some updates on the water utility bills and what you can expect to see from that. Water briefs. We do an update. Every commission meeting, we'll be doing them again tomorrow for the budget meeting and the special meeting that's tomorrow. And then any city initiatives that we're working on, we try to send those out as well. So that said, we've got you know, all of our social media pages, follow us on Nextdoor, Twitter, Facebook. We're posting stuff there constantly. There are constant updates coming from my whole team, from all of the different departments within the city. And we want to make sure that you guys are getting information from us as easily as possible. So I'm going to go back to our survey here. I can share this screen again. And we will go to the next screen. Okay, so the main source that everybody wanted was email, and then social media, and then text message. So that's interesting. Email is great. That's very easy for us to do. Social media, obviously we're huge in social media. The text messages, I'm interested in that because we don't typically send text messages unless we don't bother you on your cell phones unless it's absolutely necessary, right? We're not going to send you a bunch of text messages about, Carter Park Jams is coming up this Friday. That's not something that we typically would text you about. We would post it in our email blast, and then we would put it on social media. The text messages, if that's something that you all think that you're interested in, we can definitely look at an opt-in opportunity for things like that. So I really appreciate you guys giving me the opportunity to kind of talk to you a little bit today. I do kind of want to open it up if anyone has any questions for me, if anybody has feedback. We really want to communicate what's going on with the city, what the commission is doing. And we're here, my office exists to give you information. So if you have anything you want to ask, please feel free to do so. I see.
Go ahead, Rick.
Because I was trying to get to the survey on my phone,
Yes.
I wasn't sure whether was this only communicating directly to the presidents or representatives of the civic associations, or is this an option that individual citizens can also opt into?
The survey itself?
No, the communication, in other words, receiving the notices of
That's
street closures and
citywide.
so forth.
Everyone in the city, yeah, can do that. The alert FTL, especially, yeah, I encourage everyone. And I can send you all as a group, I can send you some information to share with your individual neighborhoods on how to sign up, where to go, and all that.
That'd be great. Thanks a lot.
Okay. Yeah, no problem.
Okay, and John, go ahead.
Great. I think the city does a great job in communicating city kind of activities. Where I think you could improve is some of the private activities, letting the community know in advance what's going on. I'm talking about the big events like Tortuga, and those are all events that you guys don't control and don't market, but they impact the entire city. So I think some of those events that are on the event calendar that have to be approved should be publicized by you guys, not to market the event, but to let citizens know what's going on.
Right, and are you just to kind of clarify the kind of communication that you're looking for? You're looking for, there's going to be a big crowd on the beach today, traffic is going to be heavy, these streets are going to be closed, that kind of stuff?
Yep, that kind of thing. And well in advance, not just on the day of. It's to let people know, next weekend, the Los Olas Boulevard is going to be closed down for the art fair. Because unless you read the blinky signs, then you perhaps might not know that. But thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so let me just ask you this, like, I get many emails from different areas of the city, be it the Board of Adjustment or zoning and planning, which I like getting all these emails. I might ask to get them, all different departments of meetings or things that are happening. do all those things go through you, Ashley, your area, or do I need to really, or do people need to really contact whoever is in charge of that particular area?
Well, my office handles official communication from the city of Fort Lauderdale. That's what I will say there. You may be getting communications from, you know, like you said, the boards or any other entities. But if you're getting something from us, that's the official communication from the city.
Okay, so if somebody really wanted to get communications from some entity in the city, I can't think of something off the top of my head, and they don't know who to contact, they could just contact you and you could.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's good to know.
Absolutely, and we'll be happy to, if somebody has a question about a project or an initiative or a meeting or something that they need to know about, we're happy to help. And if we can't answer the question, we'll find the right person who can.
Okay, perfect.
And I'm gonna put my email, my direct email in the chat here so that you all can reach out to me directly if you need anything.
Okay, and I also have that email if somebody doesn't get the chance to put it in there. And I do see one more question from Jim. Go ahead, Jim.
Ashley, thanks for that presentation. That survey that you did, have you done that
Yes.
citywide?
I did, yes.
You did.
And yeah, we ran an initiative. We emailed it out. We put it on social media. We had boards at city facilities. This was a few months back when we still had a city hall. I did do that. It closed in May, and so it is very similar. Email was the #1 response that people wanted to get information from us. So I'm working on now a campaign to get more people signed up for our emails. Because I want to make sure, obviously you all are getting them, you all are engaged and looking out for those. I want to make sure that I'm reaching the people who aren't necessarily as engaged and looking for those emails so that we can make sure. And I will send you all that campaign as well, so you can share it with your neighborhoods, encouraging people to sign up for those emails too.
I think a qualifier for that survey would be when you're asking about, well, the results you got about text messages, there may be certain types of text messages that would be important and others that would be, I don't want to say intrusive, but a little bit of information overload. So maybe in that questionnaire, if you can redesign it or add to it so that there's a little more specificity in each of those definitions. So it says text messages, right? So what does that mean? Does that mean everything that comes out of the city or just certain things?
Right. Yeah. And as of right now, we only send text messages in through Alert FTL, which is meant for emergency situations or safety situations during hurricane season and that kind of thing. Or if you're expected to boil your water for any reason and it's a safety issue. If we decide to move forward, and you're right, I need to gather a little bit more information before we decide to move forward with any kind of texting on a larger scale, because I want to make sure that people aren't, opting out when I'm trying to get them information. So it would probably be a separate service than Alert FTL, because I don't want people overloaded with information and then opting out and not getting those emergency notifications when we need to get them.
Do you coordinate that with police and fire?
The Alert FTL, yes. Police and fire have access to the same system that I do. And yes, we coordinate closely on those communications.
Okay, great. Thank you.
We all need to know, especially those on the beach, when the tsunami's coming. So just feel free to text me so I know. I don't on the beach.
Will do, yeah.
All right, do we have any other questions for Ashley? All right, well, thank you. It's kind of good to know all that. I think a lot of us get messages from the city every single day. It's kind of good to know that there's a whole group of you that are like making these things happen, and who to go to if we have any questions or we want to be added to something.
Yes. And so Mary, I will send you those communications I mentioned just so that you can share it with this group. Okay. And again, I have my email is in the chat. So thank you again for having me. It's nice to put some faces to some names I see. Yeah, let me know if you need anything. Thanks.
Thank you. Nice to cyber meet you.
Yeah, you too.
Alrighty. Okay, well, that's very interesting. A lot of things I didn't know, and I did take the survey on my phone while we had this meeting, which is amazing. I could do two things at once, so some of you might be able to do that too. It's pretty easy. And we'll make sure that we have that on our website, or you can always contact us or Ashley if you want to participate and you weren't able to tonight. Okay, our next speakers, I think most of us know Portia and Katrina. I feel like they're my old friends for the last couple of years. And they're going to talk about some new revisions to the short-term rental ordinance, which I personally like, and I think the city commission approved them on first glance or first approval, or I'm not sure what to call it. So I'm going to let them go ahead with some new updates on that, which anybody that's got any short-term rentals around them will probably like to hear about. So I don't know which one of you wants to speak first, for Portia or Katrina, but the floor is yours.
Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Again, for those that may not know me, Katrina Johnson, Jordan Code Compliance Manager. I am happy to be here tonight. Thank you so much for inviting us to speak about short-term rentals, which everyone knows we are all passionate about in the city of Fort Lauderdale. On September the 5th, which was last week's commission's meeting, the amendments to the vacation rental ordinance, which is chapter 15, were approved for first reading, and they will be going back on next week, Tuesday, for a second reading. The proposed amendments to the ordinance are: one, that the vacation rentals must be equipped with a noise level detection device. That device will alert the property manager and the occupant that there is noise in the vacation rental that is above the allowed decibels. That data must be made available to the city upon request, and it must be kept on file with the property owner for 180 days. The second amendment is an increase in the citation amount from $200 to $250 for an uncontested citation, and from $275 to $325 for a contested violation. The third is for properties that have been suspended. We are increasing the suspension to $5,000 per day for repeat violation, and up to $15,000 per day if the special magistrate deems that the violation is irreparable or irreversible in nature. And the last amendment for the ordinance is the removal of language that limited the city to only suspensions of 12 months. So if a property receives 6 violations, which would constitute a suspension for 425 days, the city was only allowed to suspend for 12 months. So we are having that language removed so that the suspension timeframes can match the violations. One thing that we will be adding, which is not part of the ordinance, but is going to be a great tool, is a 24/7 call center specifically dedicated to vacation rentals. That is going to be one number that a complainant can call day or night. So there won't be the daytime number and the nighttime number that the city is utilizing now. It's going to be one number specifically dedicated to vacation rental complaints, which is going to speed up our response times as well as our compliance timeframes when it comes to violators. Our night team has been paramount in bringing quick compliance to nighttime violations of parties, noise, parking. They're issuing citations. We are taking these properties to hearing. We had a hearing today where 4 properties, 4 vacation rental properties specifically, were suspended. 2 for 180 days and 2 for 365 days. So the tools we now have are helping us to basically address vacation rentals in the neighborhoods. You all are aware that we are here almost 24/7, not quite. Our night team works Thursday through Sunday, 5:30 p.m. to 3 o'clock a.m. That's the 828-8000 number. And during the daytime, it's the 954-828-5207 number. So we are here to support the communities with your concerns with the vacation rentals, and we are hoping that these amendments are going to give us a little more teeth, so to speak, in enforcing violators, especially repeat violators.
Okay.
And that is all I have.
Any questions for Katrina? Any concerns about these new regulations? Go ahead, James, go ahead, or Jim Labrie, go ahead.
Hi, Katrina and Portia. So it's good to see you. And I really welcome these changes. I think they're needed, and I hopefully will help control some of the issues that we have with vacation rentals. I am concerned a bit though still about response time from your part of the city, your group. You know, we see a violation, we call in, we submit a complaint, and then it gets all jotted down and all the information is taken, but then you don't have an agent or a representative to come and check it out for 24 or 48 hours. And by then, you know, it's not there anymore, you know. And I'm specifically referring to some trash violations that we've had in my neighborhood. So could you just speak a little bit, please, towards response time and how your group is set up and working through the various neighborhoods? Is it do people just go and investigate when there's a complaint, or do the people drive around and notice something and write up, you know, like someone would write up a parking ticket or something? Could you just explain that a little bit, please? Thank you.
Sure, Jim, it'll be my pleasure. So when it comes to the vacation rental inspectors specifically, they are in the neighborhoods. They are doing their annual inspections because we are now in renewal season. If they do notice a violation, they will actually write it up at that time. However, sometimes when they're on one side of this city, because we only have 3 vacation rental inspectors for the entire city, we have one that is responsible for District 2, one that is responsible for District 1, and one that is responsible for District 3 and 4. And so if there is a violation that you all see, by all means, we will attempt to get a code officer out there immediately, even if we request that the area inspector, as opposed to the vacation rental inspector, addresses the violation. I did get a complaint regarding trash carts, and our senior inspector, Leonard Champagne, went out there immediately same day and cited. If we can get out there same day for those types of violations, we do. Sometimes when we get the violation, it is trash cart day, so they are allowed to be there. So we do have to wait until after the trash carts are due to be picked up and then investigate. But if we have someone available, we do respond as quickly as we can. So for trash carts, if we can get someone there and it's not a trash pickup day, we tend to try to get someone there that same day. The normal response time for violations is 24 to 48 hours, but we do try to get someone to those, what we call itinerant violations that may be there today and gone tomorrow, as you stated. So we do try to catch those when we get those complaints. And if we see them proactively, we will definitely address them.
Right. Thanks for speaking to that, Katrina. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome, Jen.
Katrina,
I see Perry raise his hand. Go ahead, Perry.
Hi, Katrina and Portia. I was wondering if you can post in the chat the link where we can go check a property to see if it's registered and to see what violations are there. In our neighborhood, a lot of times the board gets calls, and it's easier if we just check them instead of telling them to call you.
No worries, I'll post it in 2 seconds.
Thanks.
Katrina, sorry, I'm trying to raise a hand, but I don't know how. I'm a
Okay,
WebEx
go
user.
ahead, Gustav, go ahead.
I don't use
All
Zoom.
right.
I'm not allowed.
You can always just go like this. I try to see everybody. Okay.
No,
It's a
no,
little hard. We
Katrina,
got 35 people on, so it's a little hard sometimes.
no, just a question, Katrina. I appreciate the changes too. I'm from Beach Park. I want to know when these amendments are going to be effective, do you think?
Give her a second. She just put something in.
So if I'm not mistaken, I believe that these go into effect October 1st, but Katrina and I can check on that. But if I'm not mistaken, that's when it goes into effect.
Okay, thank you.
And I just wanted to also add, I know there was a gentleman that asked about the vacation rental that are registered and where those could be found. So on the city's website, not only does Katrina and her staff have a list of properties that are registered. They also post a list of properties with open cases that are registered vacation rentals. They post them by district. And then within the district report, they're organized by the HOA. And so I think that's something very helpful, that even if you don't see a property on the registered list, if you go to the enforced list, it's also present, the cases they have.
Okay, and John Burns, I see you have your hand up.
Great. I know, Portia, that you gave a direct dial number, but do the calls that go to the 8,000 customer service number, do they get transferred pretty immediately to your organization? Just one less number to remember or to publicize.
They do. So the public works team, what they do when anyone calls in is they send an email directly to the nighttime inspectors that are on duty. Katrina and her team each week share the officer's schedule with that public works team. And so as soon as you all make a call, they immediately send an email, and then they also receive confirmation back from the officers that are on duty that they've received that call and that they're going out to it.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, I think any of you that were here. Let me let Rick ask this question first. Go ahead, Rick.
I was just wondering, now that you're gonna have one 24-hour number, are they going to increase the officers available to actually access that if you're called on a night that normally the night group isn't working?
So our team works in tandem with the police department. So on the nights, if you're specifically speaking to nights that the code officers are not available, the police department will respond, and they actually send us a follow-up via email. Or if there's body cam footage, we also request that, where they will respond when the code officers are not on duty on those nights. We're on duty Thursday through Sunday, so that would just be Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday that we're not available at nighttime.
And Katrina, if I could just add to that, one of the things that the City Commission did last year is they added these 4 positions for nighttime. They were added to the budget last year. And what Katrina and her team were able to do was to basically increase their nighttime enforcement and specifically focus on vacation rentals and noise. And they also extended the hours that the officers were present. So although they're not 7 days a week, 24/7, what you're currently experiencing is an increase from where we were a year ago.
Right, and my neighborhood is really very grateful.
All right, so I think on that note, if any of you, which are probably most of you, have been around for quite a while, and remember when this short-term rental situation boomed, and all of a sudden, we didn't have very much control over anything. And from those days, I know Portia and maybe Katrina, but I know for sure Portia was part of this. And from those days to now, it is like night and day. I think everybody has to admit, you guys should get like an award for how great you've turned this around at every opportunity. And being in a neighborhood that has the most short-term rentals in District 1, I can't tell you how we all appreciate that. I really do. I'm serious. I'm not just saying that. It's been such a problem. So I can't, when I get that number that is just to call just only you, it's going to be entered in my phone as Portia and Katrina's number for short-term rentals. So really appreciate everything you ladies do. And I thank you for staying on the ball as to what we're allowed to do. I really appreciate it. We all do.
No problem. And thank you all for having us.
Yeah, thank you for everything you do for us. Thank you. Okay. Seriously, I meant every word I just said. So on that note, our next speaker is actually one of our members and our past president and a board member, Marilyn Mamano, who has been on the infrastructure task force as long as I think it's been in existence. I think she's been the head of it for quite some time. And she's going to talk a little bit about what the task force is doing as far as the new city hall. Now, I don't mean the temporary city hall, but the real city hall. And I think it's going to be everybody's wants and needs. So if I'm mistaken in how I presented you, Marilyn, please set the record straight, but go ahead.
Thank you, Mary, and thank you for inviting me tonight in my other capacity as the chairperson of the Infrastructure Task Force. If you could make me a host, I will share a PowerPoint presentation. And while you're doing that, I'll sort of set it up. And at the August meeting of the Infrastructure Task Force, the city manager came to us and he opened up a discussion about a city initiative to find a new city hall. And as Mary explained, this is not the temporary, it's not the intermediate, it's got nothing to do with the police at Kaplan. It's got to do with the future city hall, however that may be, wherever that may be. And he shared with us this presentation. Mary, did you make me the host?
Yeah, you're the, I'm sorry.
All right. All right. I'm going to share my screen and go to my desktop. And I'm going to share this presentation with you. Okay, can everybody see this?
Yep.
All right, let me make it bigger. Let me go to the beginning. All right. So this is going to be a discussion about the future city hall. And I don't know why they put this photograph on the screen because it looks like a prison, but don't get thrown off by that. Okay. So we're going to be talking about the need to fulfill. We need a new city hall, however that is going to look, wherever that's going to be. And what they asked us to do was to concentrate on defining some guiding values and priorities. They asked us to organize and participate in a civic engagement and spacing prioritization. And they came to us with a potential work plan and next steps. What is the need they want us to fulfill? They want us to provide some guiding principles and propose a vision for how public spaces and a future facility can guide future decision-making as we consider the development of a new city hall. And specifically, what this is not, this is not an effort to perform a needs assessment or to find a building design or design the building. This is to determine and to engage with people as to how we determine what are the values that we're looking for in a city hall. And, you know, there's the typical ones that we talk about, building for inclusivity, multi-purpose, multi-use facilities, central city location or not a central city location, but importantly, inclusive and engaging public spaces. So the civic engagement portion of this is we want to be talking to people about how neighbors use City Hall. And that would be under the neighbor to neighbor category. Consider space for having future connected neighborhoods, using City Hall as a space where neighbors can get together and exchange information and ideas. The other function of City Hall is how neighbors interact with their elected officials. This would be the public meetings, this would be additional meetings. How are people, what do people feel about the need and the availability of their elected officials in the City Hall context? And there's also people need to go to City Hall to interact with the city staff, pay your water bills, get information, have meetings, et cetera, et cetera. So these are the things that they sort of came to us with as a sort of general discussion. And then they asked us to think about what the next steps would be, how we would have workshops and the kinds of issues we would discuss at the workshops, and then finally making proposals to the city commission. So this was the very, very beginning sort of raw information that we started with in August. And I'm going to stop sharing this and go back to this. So now, given that, we asked the city commission to engage with us in a workshop, because this was all very vague and, well, not vague, but this was all very preliminary and exploratory. And we wanted to have a discussion with the actual commissioners. And so in August 22nd, we had a joint workshop with the city commission. And we discussed this, in great detail. And they asked us very politely if we would undertake this initiative. And of course, when you look at the mission of the Infrastructure Task Force, this is exactly what we are supposed to be doing. And we actually did a public outreach effort in 2018 when we were starting up talking about infrastructure. So we had public meetings in each one of the districts, and we played the It's Your Money game, and we gave everybody money, and they all put their money down on various infrastructure. We used that to sort of engage people to start thinking about infrastructure. And also, we worked when we did the water treatment plant. We engaged in this similar kind of exercise of not actually designing the building, not actually talking about what the technology would be, but to establish some guiding principles for the commission to consider whenever they considered a proposal for the water treatment plant. And it was very simple. It was that you should never lose control of the asset. You never lose control of the quality of the water, and you never lose control of the rates. So we did not tell the commission, you never tell the commission to do anything. We recommended to them that whatever you do, whatever decision you make, you have to make sure that these are the guiding principles that your decision is guided by. So that worked out relatively well with the water treatment plant. So they were comfortable, and we were comfortable that this was the kind of an effort, an initiative that would work very well for the Infrastructure Task Force, working with the city staff and being guided by the commission eventually with our recommendations. So at our September 2nd infrastructure meeting, it was our September 11th meeting, we had a more thorough discussion with the city staff about how is this going to work. And they presented us a 2-page work program that, meeting, da, 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 da. And we all agreed that this was incredibly ambitious and really very unrealistic to try and engage a large section of the public in a meaningful way with the type of work program that they had envisioned. It was like sort of like a quick and dirty. And we rejected that, and we said to them, listen, we want, if we're going to do this, and we want to do a more extensive public outreach. And we want to engage the council, because this is where you can find representatives from most of the active civic associations, and it's a ready-made venue for soliciting input. So we wanted to partner with the council on this. And we wanted to do only one workshop this year, because we all know we're, Thanksgiving, Christmas, you don't want to be doing these kinds of in-depth outreach. They wanted to do 3 public meetings before December. We said that you can't do that. That's overload. And we're not prepared, and we have to get more groundwork done before you can even have a public meeting on this subject. So we finally agreed at the yesterday's meeting that what we would plan on doing is we would plan on having one public meeting before Christmas, like in the period between after Thanksgiving and before December, when all the parties and yada yada starts happening. So we're trying to get a space, a citywide space, to hold a general citywide public meeting on the subject of the new city hall in the week of November 27. Now I'm giving you these dates, but they are tentative depending upon other factors. The most important factor is the city is hiring a consultant to prepare all the materials and to be the facilitator of these workshops. Any of you who have participated in public outreach workshops know that they're only as good as the material that's presented and the manner in which they're presented in a user-friendly way, so that people can have an opportunity to actually participate and not just sit there and watch a presentation. So the city is engaging a consultant. Hopefully they will be on board within 2 or 3 weeks. And we will then be working with that consultant to develop the materials and the methodology for engaging the public at this very first workshop in November. And what we wanted to do with the commission very specifically was to say to them, we recommend to you that you give back or return the current unsolicited proposal. There's a current unsolicited proposal, P3, for a project on the site of City Hall. We recommend that you give that back to the proposer, give him back his $25,000, and that you not accept any proposals for City Hall, P3 proposals for City Hall, until this process is completed. That would be a show of good faith for us all, so we all know that everything's on the table. There's no agenda here other than to find what people feel about this and to develop these guidelines for the commission. So we sent that communication to the commission yesterday, and we hope that they will act upon it. So given that, what we are looking at in terms of a sort of schedule is that one big meeting at the end, at the beginning of December, after Thanksgiving, beginning of December. It'll be a city-wide meeting. It'll be in a central location. And we will engage in, I don't know what we're going to engage in because we don't have the consultant on board and we haven't actually physically prepared the information, but we will be working on that in October and November. And I want to point out to you that all of this background work that goes into this will be done in public, at public meetings, at the Infrastructure Task Force meetings. So if you want to tune in, dial into our meetings, or watch them on videos after they're concluded, or if you want to participate and speak at those meetings, you can just you can dial into the Infrastructure Task Force meetings. They are public meetings, and that's where all the work is going to be done with the consultants and the staff to sort of frame this discussion and how it's going to be. And that big workshop in November is going to be your first opportunity, citywide opportunity, for people to see the whole picture, the space allocations, how many square feet we need, which departments need to talk to which other departments, sort of the nuts and bolts of what the city is looking for programmatically for the new City Hall.
Okay.
So, wait,
Marilyn?
yeah.
That sounds super. I have a couple questions here people have, so let me.
Okay, let me just point out to you that that's like the beginning, and then I want to give you the sort of schedule for the remainder. But because there's going to be meetings in each of the districts, it's not going to be just that one meeting. So if that was the question, let me answer that question right away. There will be 4 meetings in the districts. Okay, so I'm happy to answer questions on this part of the project.
Okay, cool. Dennis, go ahead.
Marilyn, do you know, is the city putting out an RFP for the consultant, or are they using a consultant, under another contract?
They're not doing anything at this point.
Then they don't have a consultant?
No, they do not.
Okay. And
Thank you.
JJ?
So thank you so much for presenting all of this, Marilyn. Lots of work ahead of you. Now, we know the city moves slowly and they shouldn't rush into another, few $100 million investment without due diligence. And we all understand that. What is their plan, if any, to house City Hall and all the other agencies that are part of it in the interim? Because this could be easily a 2-year project.
Yeah, in the interim plan is to move into the 101 building, the West Marine building. That's already in progress. They're going to be doing a hybrid, some people are going to still work from home, but they're going to have enough space in the 101 building to house everyone that they feel needs to be physically present. And they're also going to have in that building a space where we can have our regular commission meetings, a big city commission space in there. So that lease is at least a 2-year lease, and I think it's extendable to 3 years. So they're planning on having that as the intermediate plan for at least 3 years. And I believe there's some extension opportunities there as well. So yes, you're absolutely correct. This is going to take some time to develop.
Okay, and John Burns, go ahead.
Marilyn, is there a way, in addition to the meeting in November, December, to create perhaps a survey that individual associations could send to their memberships to gather some of this information?
I am so happy you asked that question, because one of the big discussions we had at the September meeting just yesterday was, how are we going to do this outreach? And I was so happy to see Ashley on here because her name came up immediately and repeatedly. And we will be working with the strategic communications people to effectuate a public outreach plan. That's, one part of it is just the public outreach, social media, a web page, a survey, similar survey to the one we do with the neighborhood survey, which, we have a contract with a company that does that neighborhood survey, the neighbor survey every year. We're going to think about hiring them to actually do this survey. We're talking about engaging with the council on any level that they would like to engage with us. We're talking about going to the neighborhood night out event in February, setting up a booth, talking to people. We're each actually contemplating a mail survey because a lot of people were very concerned that you're not going to necessarily get all the high-tech people. You want to be really as inclusive as you possibly can. Those details will be worked out at the October and November meeting, working with the consultants and the city staff and the committee. And that will be what we want to present at the November meeting. And we're going to take all of December to do that outreach. So we'll have all of December to follow up on that big public meeting and get outreach. We'll go to social media, we'll go to Nextdoor, we'll go wherever you guys suggest. I mean, you probably have some suggestions we haven't thought of. We thought we brainstormed all of them, but you never brainstorm all of them. So if you all have some suggestions about how we can reach more people in a meaningful way, you just let me know and we'll put it on the table.
All right, we got a couple of questions here. Dennis, are you hands still up or a new question?
No, I wanted to ask something else. Marilyn, are you sure they're not renting at 1 East Broward at West Marine? I thought that's where the commission chambers was going to be.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I meant West Marine.
Okay.
I meant West Marine. I thought I said that, but yeah, I said 101.
Oh, you said 101, yeah.
No, mistake.
Okay.
West Marine.
I see somebody on the phone. I suspect it's Bill Brown. iPhone with your hand up.
Yes, thank you. Marilyn, was
Hi,
there any
Bill.
discussion thank you. Was there any discussion about, because I don't believe that there's anything earmarked in this next budget proposal to hire consultants and to do all this outreach. Was that addressed by your committee with city staff on the funding for this?
Yes, Bill, very important question. Thank you for that. Would they have the ability to issue a consultant contract for this work in up to $100,000 without having to go through the procurement process? And actually, when we heard $100,000, we all gasped and said, geez, $100,000. Let's try not to spend $100,000 doing this. But the answer to your question is that they have the ability to effectuate a contract for this outreach without having to go through the procurement process. That answer your question?
Okay, and I'll address it with Greg tomorrow night to find out the funding source for that.
Okay.
Because there's nothing earmarked in the budget for it.
No, there wouldn't be. It's one of their standing contracts that they can do. But it's a good question. It's a question we asked, and we were assured that, and we have to take them at their word that they are actually holding interviews with consultants and that they are ready to rock and roll as soon as they pick one.
Okay, and I see Rick Buchanan, you have your hand up.
Right. Hi, Marilyn. Thanks for the information. A couple of things. One, did I misunderstand you? I thought you said that the infrastructure task force had asked the city to return $25,000 to someone, and I thought you said that was a consultant. So, what was that person's role, or because I missed that somehow?
Let me explain. There is a current unsolicited P3 proposals in the city's process that somebody submitted. I think it was like maybe 9-10 months ago. We took the $2,500 from the guy, okay, and that proposal is kicking around. And the proposal's this thick. It's based on outdated information from when we were going to go the joint city hall, county hall thing. And they actually gave that to us at the August meeting. to sort of start the discussion. And we all took our copies, which is this thick, and we all passed them down to Greg, and we all mourned for the trees that died to produce this. And we gave it back to him and said, we're not even looking at this. This is not, if you want us to engage with the public in a honest effort to solicit public input, we're not even looking at that. We're giving it back to you. And we've officially recommended that the city give the man back his it could be a woman, give the person back their $25,000, tell them thank you, but we're not ready. We're doing a public outreach project. And while we're doing this public outreach, we will not accept any other P3s, because if there's P3s floating around, then, they're not serious. That would be our recommendation.
So.
Okay, and then my
go ahead.
comment, and I know that this is who many of us are, that we just assume that the only holiday in December is Christmas, but there are a number of other religions that also celebrate holidays. And so I think it would be more strategically advantageous to talk about the December holidays as opposed to Christmas, because that leaves a number of groups out and will antagonize folks. So
I stand corrected. I stand corrected. The December holiday parties is what I meant to say.
Okay.
Thanks,
Some of us old timers, and I'm older than Marilyn, really need to be reminded of that from time to time.
Okay, so let me continue and just finish this up, all right? Because I don't want to take up too much of this meeting.
If you can wind it up, that'd be cool.
I'm going to wind it up, right? Oh, so now after the holidays in January, we're going to be scheduling tentatively one meeting in each of the districts to get further input. And I also mentioned we're going to have a booth at the neighbor what is that called? Neighbor Support Night, which I think will be a very good opportunity. We may accelerate that, okay? We may do 2 in a month, but there will be 4. Every district will have an opportunity to weigh in. And then we're going to have a virtual town hall meeting to wrap it up. We did the virtual town hall meeting for the water treatment plant, and that was very successful. Hundreds of people called in and listened to it and asked questions. And that will be the sort of wrap up of our outreach. And based upon all of that, we will then develop some guiding principles that we will publish and we will discuss. We'll have a presentation here at the council on the guiding principles, and any other opportunities that you want us to come and interact with you during the process. We're certainly open. If you want to form a committee to liaison with us and work on the actual workings of the operation, or anything you think would contribute to making this a more inclusive and a more successful effort, we are certainly open to. We are hoping to have these recommendations and guidelines by the spring, because while it will take, we need to take as long as we need to take to make this a meaningful initiative. We are cognizant of the need to get this done, because we got to have a new city hall. We can't be hanging out like gypsies for, longer than is absolutely necessary. So that concludes my presentation. Again, I'm happy to answer any more questions if there are, and I'm happy to engage with the council in the capacity of Infrastructure Task Force Chair in any way that you think we could improve on what we've done to date so far. Thank you.
Well, okay, Marilyn, I appreciate that thorough report, and the council will communicate anything that you deem should get out there. We'll disseminate that throughout the council's constant contact. And this city hall is very important to everybody on this call. We used to all disparage the old city hall. The elevators are old, and it might smell funny, and I miss that old building functioning so much. I regret ever saying one bad thing about it. So we're all looking forward to that. So thank you. And also, for the love of God or Allah or whoever or whatever, do not let a P3, which I sounds like you're not, get their little toes in any of this, because that would be just, I think, a disaster. So thank you for keeping them all at bay. All right, so we're gonna move along here and we're gonna get down to council business. And Jim, I have made you host again if you want to put the what do you call this thing? Yeah, agenda up. And so we can just kind of like get through some of this stuff. One of the first thing on council business is, why are we on a Zoom meeting? I've had many people say, why Zoom? And since City Hall became inoperable, we were having meetings at the YMCA on Sistrunk, which I love that building and it worked out really well, but it's very expensive. And you know, we only get money from members from dues. We don't make money. We don't have a fundraiser. We don't do anything like that. And I don't want to use up all the council's money on paying for space and then paying for an IT person to record the meetings. So this meeting was, that's why this is Zoom. Zoom is already paid for, you know, and it does all those things just like this. It's not quite as fun in person. And as Ted points out, it's kind of hard to eat Jet's Pizza at a Zoom meeting. So we're going to look at some other options. Many people like John Burns and people like that offer different spaces to us, but they don't have IT audiovisual capabilities. And, you know, I think it really kind of came to Jim and Concannon and my conclusion that maybe we should get our own equipment. So we're going to look into that, because I don't see that we're going to be able to, we'll have a city hall type scenario for the rest of the year. I just, if we do, great, but I think we have to plan that we're not. And I really don't want to do every meeting on Zoom. I think it's better when we're in person if we can. So we're going to look into that. So stay tuned as to how this is going to work. It's just, you know, another little project that we had to kind of figure out this year. And if any of you are audio visual gurus, let Jim know and me. But I think Jim might have a good handle on this stuff. Okay, then the next thing I want to talk about is our District 4 representative has had to resign due to some family issues. She's fine, but she's got a lot on her plate, and she just felt that she couldn't do the council justice being a District 4 rep at this time. And she's done a wonderful job, and even going out the door, she's done a lot for us. So there is a vacancy now, the District 4 rep. So we need to have a special election. And so I'm announcing at this meeting right now that we will have a special election for the District 4 representative. And that notice has to go out, and we cannot have an election, once I say that notice, for 10 days. And we need to have an election within 60 days of this announcement. So we will have an election for that position at the October meeting, which is October 10th. And let me just go over this a little bit, what the duties are of a district representative. There's a couple of them, but they're not a lot. First of all, you have to come to every general membership meeting and board meeting, unless if something really interferes. And that's something to keep in mind. That's 22 meetings. Yeah, 22, it's a lot. And that's yes, I make 22 agendas. So, I mean, I know it's a lot. So people need to keep that in mind. You're expected to recruit within your district of some neighborhoods that either maybe aren't recognized with the city or aren't members, or maybe they don't know about us. You know, look for those people and kind of let them know all about us, or anything that's going on in your district. I've also asked for monthly district rep reports. I haven't really been insistent on that, but we do get those, and they're presented at the board meeting. So we do ask for those. So as of this moment, I'm looking, I'm going to be looking for nominations. And if anybody is interested tonight, you can raise your hand now. Or if you want to let me know later, I would appreciate, you know, getting an email that you're interested. So, and Vanessa, yeah, go ahead. You got it. There you go.
Hi, I'm Vanessa Pothiker. I'm president of Tarpon River. I'm definitely interested in this position. I know a lot of the D4 presidents and leaders and work well with a lot of them. And if I don't know you all, I'd like to meet you and look forward to working with you. So I'm definitely interested.
Okay. We've
I'm
got our
nominating myself.
All right, perfect. We've got our first nominee. Just so you know, I accidentally did that years ago, and look at me, I'm president, so be careful. That's the way it starts. So great. And do I have anybody else or any questions?
Okay.
All right. If anybody, you know, in the next couple of days wants to is interested, you know, just email me. Everybody should have my email, or email any board member and let us know. And then just know at the October 10th meeting, which I'd love for it to be in person, but I don't know if that'll happen. We're going to have an election. And let me point out that only a representative from civic associations or HOAs that have submitted an application and are up to date on their dues may vote. So a lot of you might be on here and your associations aren't like that. You're always welcome to attend these meetings, but to vote, you have to be, your dues have to be paid, and I need to have an application from this year. If you are questioning whether you have done that or not, you can always email me or Melinda. Email me and I'll ask Melinda, and we'll figure out if you're eligible or not. Okay. I see Christine, go ahead, Christine Jones.
Thank you. I just want to make sure that Vanessa email you her concern about becoming a rep for that district. She need to put it in writing. Make sure you put it in writing.
Okay. So
That's all.
That's a good point Christine brought up. So yeah, Vanessa, you can just go ahead and email me that you would like to be nominated for that position. And anybody else, please do the same thing. Okay. Anything else on that subject? All right. Okay, next. The homeless issues throughout the city. Now, last week, I can't remember exactly what day, but it was kind of later last week. I sent out a communication to all the presidents, you know, current and then the past presidents, same for reps and alts, asking if they were having any really like big issues, you know, specifically related to any feeding programs for charities in their neighborhood, or just any in general, just homeless problems. And so far, I've gotten about 13 responses, which we have, and we can easily show them to you. But I'm kind of reticent to do that at the moment, because I'm thinking other people, once they, you know, hear what I have to say, that just, you know, didn't have time or didn't pay attention to it, and you know, might want to add to it. But what it looks like to me so far, and we've got some things that are, you know, some neighborhoods don't have any problem at all, or have had very minor problems. Other neighborhoods have had, you know, major problems. The majority of the problems appear to be on the east side of the city, or a little bit downtown, a progressive village, you know, that area. That's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing from these neighborhoods. I suspect it's because there are services that people use that are more in these areas. I could be wrong. That's what I think. And, you know, I hate to say it, but, you know, and I'm talking about real undesirables get out of jail, and they might have been arrested in, I don't know, Parkland or Pompano or somewhere, but they remain in this area. So if anybody else has anything they want to let me know about large populations of homeless creating havoc in their neighborhoods, you need to let me know. And realize when I say homeless, there's all kinds of homeless people. I'm probably telling you things that you already know. There are people that accidentally became homeless, you know, for financial reasons. I mean, myself in my own life, when I was younger and a newly divorced mother of two, I was terrified if I lost my job, how am I going to pay for where I live? You know, I was one paycheck away from being, you know, out on the street. So this happens to people, all kinds of people. And that's not as my concern as much as it is the chronic homeless and them just being able to live, in some little area because there are services available to them, maybe free food here or there, or other people just well-meaning, but allow them to live on the streets. And then, we have even lower than that, drug addict, chronic homeless. And the problem with that is not only is it's bad for them, but it also brings in their suppliers and all kinds of crime into a neighborhood. So I just would like to know from anybody else if they're having any issues like that. If you can email them to me, I have one long document and I'll add it to it if it seems appropriate. And I do believe we'll put that on the website. And but I want to talk to the board about it before I do that. And see what we can do, because there's some different thoughts on what can be done. The one thing that can't happen is we can't take people from one area and create something where they all go, and now you've just moved the problem. So I have to start thinking outside the box for these issues as far as I'm concerned, and I don't know what those thoughts are. So that's all I'm going to say about that. I see some hands up. So Christine Jones, if you want to go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to make a statement because when I read your memo to us regarding the situation in the neighborhoods, that they're deteriorating because of certain scenarios. Churches do feed some of the folk, the homeless people, but people are not homeless because they're homeless. They're homeless because they can't afford the rent. They have a problem with renting here, trying to find a place to live. In the county, I worked for the county for many years, but the city does have a bus that come around and allow people, unfortunately, need to shower. They can shower in these buses and stuff like that. And the city even had right outside of City Hall, just like y'all feed them outside of City Hall, or the neighborhood association bring in food for the homeless shelters, for the homeless folks. So we have to be mindful of how we say things when you talk about this kind of stuff, because everybody's not giving a heart, I guess, making it bad for the neighborhood. Because I don't, like I said, you're talking about the drugs and how the neighborhoods are going down, and what neighborhoods are going down. Now, you may not want to get into it right now, but you saw a little bit about it on the other side, on the east side. But this is not a good way to say it like that. And I know you talked about once before about having people come to our meeting to discuss more about this in that neighborhood, who take care of the homeless and what they need to do and how they can do this type stuff. Maybe we need to talk to them again and see what's what, and give them your concerns about what's going on in the neighborhood, especially on the east side. But that's an issue for me because, like I said, people are homeless because they can't afford the rent. The city should have, when they do these contracts with these people, they should make sure they have affordable housing for some people to live in, not 10% or 5%, but more than that, because people really need to have a place to stay. And I hate to see people on the street, and especially my veterans. I'm sorry, I just have a problem with my veterans on the street. So that's an issue for me. I just want to make that statement.
Well, and I understand, I think that's what I was trying to say is people are homeless for a whole variety of reasons. And I totally get that. And I can remember being terrified that was going to happen to me as a younger person. So I do want to emphasize that there's not just one kind of homeless people. I mean, there's all different reasons people are homeless. What I'm really talking about is the chronic drug using homeless people. That's really what I'm talking about. It's a problem. So go ahead. I got a couple hands up. Leanne, go ahead.
Thanks, Mary. I just recently attended the Florida Housing Conference, Affordable Housing Conference in Orlando. It's a 3-day event. And there were a lot of other counties talking about what they've done to address the homeless situation in their county. And I'm in the process of consolidating some of this information, but I think that would be worthwhile to present to this forum because there are real success stories out there. And to back up what Christine had to say, it's primarily, I would say, it's an affordable housing issue. People are homeless because they do not have a home. And people can become drug users because they are suffering and they, you self-medicate. So there's all kinds of reasons that people end up in the situation that they're in. But the primary issue is that we've lost thousands and thousands and thousands of units of affordable housing in our community. So if you like, I can put together some information, and we could even, I'm sure we could have some of these folks from other counties Zoom in and talk about what they've done to address these issues, because they're addressing them.
Yeah.
And they've set
That would be
targets.
that would be terrific. And I've started going to the Broward County meetings on just this subject. And they seem to feel like they're having success, but the problem is so huge that and they're really looking for just the people that Christine was talking about, or what you're talking about, people can't afford housing. They're really looking at those situations. So that would be great. I would love to know that, and it'd be great to share it with the counties. The counties, I forget what they call it, community of care, I think is what it is. And so that would be good, Leanne. I'd like to know about that. Maybe you can go to these meetings with me. Okay, and Dennis?
Does anyone know the status of the Homeless Advisory Committee? Have they assigned a liaison to that committee yet? I know they appointed people to it, I believe.
No, but I talked to Louisa about this. She knows I'm really hot on this issue because of what's happening in the area where I live, not just my neighborhood, but all the neighborhoods around here. We have parts of the neighborhood now where we have no families don't live in those parts of the neighborhood anymore. They can't live there because of the crime and the danger. So I'm not the only neighborhood, but she knows. She's gone to some other meetings with me.
Mary, I'm sorry to interrupt.
Go
Hi,
ahead.
it's Lisette. I'm actually the staff liaison for the Homeless Advisory Committee. We do not have a full committee formed as of yet. We are still working on putting it together. So as soon as I have the first meeting set and up and running, the public notice will go out.
And that's great. And I think also Louisa said something to me about maybe somebody from the council should be on that meeting, on that board, but she didn't know yet. So you guys do that.
Not on the board, but to come and represent as part of the public.
Okay. Well, either way, you just let me know. We'll make sure we have somebody.
Absolutely. I would love that.
Okay. Thank you, Lisette. I really appreciate everything you guys are doing. And Marilyn, go ahead.
I was going to say, let's talk to Lisette. Because I saw her on the Zoom, and she came along with Carl from the Homeless Task Force to my Harbordale meeting the other night, and we were quite heartened by the increase in the infrastructure and the emphasis on dealing with the individual problems of the individual persons and getting them housed. And they all agreed with Leon Barber that the problem is there is no housing. I mean, you can work with the people, you could do your best, and they could even be willing and ready to go, but there's no place to go. And that's the bottleneck we have now, because I think the city has made incredible progress on putting in place the infrastructure to actually deal with the personal issues of the people involved. Now it's a question of, okay, where can people find housing? So I was just let's talk to Lisette.
Yeah, and Lisette is very good at that. And she can speak to the, they have the community court every Wednesday, but which is great. It's great. And there are all kinds of programs out there. It's just, the problem is so massive. And it's not just here, it's across the country. It's almost the same song everywhere you look. So I really do appreciate what Lisette and Louise and what they're trying to do. And I think there's a little bit more that the county can do, but I'm just learning about that now myself. So once we maybe we'll hear a little bit more about it, and I'll share that with you, of course, Lisette and Louisa, once we get it all together. Okay, anything else on this? Nope. Oh, Vanessa, go ahead.
I'm wondering if there's a the statistics about the homelessness problems, like whether it's affordable housing and or mental health and drug use, if what the are there numbers on that, statistics on that in our city?
There are, and it's, I mean, I don't have them here, and of course, I don't remember things like I used to. But it was just shocking going to some of these the county meetings. It's something like, just to give you an idea, like in Broward County, there's like 4,000 students in Broward County schools that are homeless. And that's just the students. So that's
What like I mean
I don't
young
know.
students, not college, yeah.
No, not college. This is like people in the
Right.
high school, middle school and elementary.
Okay. I was just wondering if affordable housing is the number one reason, or mental health, or if we had statistics on.
It's definitely a big reason. And as Christine said, you know, especially people like veterans or, you know, older people that just, you know, they don't have enough money for rent. They just don't have enough money for rent.
Right.
You know? Or somebody that's always, you know, I don't know how many of you on here have lived paycheck to paycheck, but I've been like that, and it's pretty daunting. And all you gotta do is have, you know, something go wrong and no paycheck, and now you have no savings. And I mean, this happens to a lot of people these days. So
absolutely.
So
okay, thank you.
Okay. All right, we're gonna move on, and I'm done talking. So Jim Concana is going to talk about the last charter revision board meeting, which was just last week. And Jim, you have the floor.
Thanks, Mary. Do you want me to do this now? I can. You still got a couple other items and it's 8 o'clock.
You know, we don't have Michael Albetta on the call. He got stuck in something else. I can just talk about this real quick. Our October 30th, you know, all get invitations. Social, I don't mind spending money on a social situation. It's going to be at Luigi's Tuscan Grill on Las Olas, and what you'll get invitation to this. I was just there last night for the first time. Actually, I had been there before. I didn't quite realize it, and it's going to be fun. They have an outdoor patio right there on the Himmersheet Canal. There is parking. There's a parking garage. It's paid parking. Got to pay for your parking. Can't always be perfect. And we had some food, and everybody's going to get a drink, and we're going to invite, you know, we're going to invite everybody. So that's put October 30th. It's a Monday. It's the day before Halloween. It is not a costume party. Okay. If you want to wear some weird makeup, fine, but you don't need to wear a costume. And so you'll get an invitation to that. And the only other thing I have for myself is membership definitions, which I kind of went over. We were talking about the District 4 vacancy, and that you have to have given me an application, so I know I have your current information, and you have to have paid your dues for this year, starting April 1st, going through March 31st. And if you have any question about that, let me or Melinda know. All right, I'm done. So now, Jim, you can go ahead.
Okay. All right. Vanessa has her hand up still, I think. No?
You know how to put it down?
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Okay. So at the September 7th Charter Revision Board meeting, we covered a lot of stuff. Now, I've said it before, but I just want to reiterate. This is a long process. The assistant city manager towards the end of the meeting pointed out, and I think we were all quite aware, that this process of the board coming up with suggestions and recommendations for changes in the city charter, that those recommendations aren't going to be ready till probably maybe April of 2024. And then that process then takes us into the city commission reviewing that information, those recommendations. And from there, it would go on the 2024 ballot. So, you know, my reports are going to be little piecemeal pieces to a big story that's going to unfold over another year and a half or so. So I just want to point that out. Some of the meat of the meeting that we talked about, we started off talking about, and I think this is a very interesting topic, multiple options for the form of government. There's innumerable forms of government, meaning a city manager, a strong city manager, a strong mayor, a strong commission, and various hybrids of those basic forms. What was decided was we were going to bring in some outside experts, specifically some independent experts that are not necessarily involved in government, but have studied it. And we were thinking of asking somebody from Nova University or an educational institution to do a presentation and talk about, at least lay out the different forms of government, maybe bring in some past government officials. So it would be a very open discussion, just laying out all the possibilities. So that was a long portion of the meeting, trying to determine our best course of action on that. I say the board's best course of action on that. That's what the next step is going to be in reference to the form of government. We talked about the residency issue when the topic of elections comes up. There were a lot of questions about the definitions, and I think a lot of the discussions, the finer points of these meetings center on the discussion of the meaning and definitions that are in the city charter. In reviewing these definitions, it seems like there's a lot of vague references, and I think one of the goals of this particular revision board is to really clearly define what those definitions are. So the term residency issue, what does that mean? 6 months prior in a district, or is the residency requirement for an elected official 6 months in the city? So it went into a lot of that detail, and ultimately, a lot of this goes back to the attorneys and the city attorney to look at case law, see how that is worded, look at other examples of municipalities and how they're doing their residency requirements, and come up with reasonable definitions that are very clear, so that when you have an election, and if it's a contested election or not, there's clear understanding of what a resident requirement is for that particular position in the government. What else we talk about? We talked about the course of action if a charter member, so an elected official, violates the city charter. How is that dealt with? Is that dealt with by the courts? Is it dealt with by the commission? Where does that go? Again, a lot of these meetings don't get into any answers. They merely raise questions. And hopefully some of those questions will be answered as we continue this process over the next several months and into 2024. We also talked about the ordinance to change the date of offices when someone takes office. So if you have an election in November, when does that elected official actually take office? Is it the day after the election? Is it after they're sworn in? Again, many of these discussions center around a clear definition, and the city attorney is going to opine on all those things after looking at some of the case law on this. Let's see. There was, unfortunately, the city attorney was tasked with a lot of different things to review before the next meeting, before any decision is made or any definitions are offered up to the commission. There was a request at the end of the meeting. Jackie Scott had requested that the agenda and the minutes be sent out to all the neighborhood presidents. And that enables the presidents to send them out to their respective neighborhoods. So that's going to happen when the next agenda comes out for the next meeting. And I might point out that the next meeting is in October. However, There was no meeting in August. I just posted the minutes, the approved minutes for the July meeting on the council's website. So those are out there. So anybody would like to see that. I also noticed that the YouTube video of these meetings has not been posted for the last meeting. And I think the last one was posted was about 2 months ago. So as soon as those things become available, I'll post those on the council's website or a link to that. I think transparency is really a big issue in all these discussions. So part of that transparency question goes to the public having information readily available to them. And I know that the city has had some challenges on the IT side, making that information available. So they're going to be working more diligently on that. So you can go to the city's website and go to the Charter Revision Board section and actually see something, see the agenda, see the approved minutes, and see the link to the video. I think I'm going to leave it at that, Mary, unless there's something else you'd like to add. I'm just looking through my notes and I don't see anything else that really leaps out at me. I may be skipping something, but oh, there was something really important. During the last election, there were some ordinances that were put in place that would possibly change an election outcome or would put in question when someone takes office. One of the board members, Mr. Richard Weiss, stated that the charter always has precedent that you cannot do an after the fact ordinance to change the charter or to override the charter mid charter session. So the charter is going to be revised now in 2024. The next time it's revised, there may be a change to something, but you can't introduce an ordinance that would violate the charter between charter review recommendations and vote by the public. I think that's about it for the time being.
All right. Anybody have any questions for Jim? I know it sounds kind of bland, but sitting there listening to some of this stuff, I'm shocked that I'm actually interested in it. And Richard Weiss, who Jim has talked about a little bit, really really a cool guy to listen to. He's obviously knows what he's talking about, and very interesting to hear him talk about these things. So something
it is kind of bland, there's no question about it. It's hard to make an exciting
Yeah.
report on that, but there's a lot of meat to it. The last meeting was 2 hours long, but ultimately nothing too concrete was decided. It was all put on an agenda for the next time and for review and opinions by the city attorney and the rest of the board.
True. Oh, Rick Buchanan, I see you have your hand up. Go ahead.
Yeah, Jim, I just had a question. Are you saying that council can't pass an ordinance that would override the charter, or are you saying that the voters can't pass an ordinance that would revise the charter?
The commission cannot pass an ordinance.
All right, then I agree with that. I was thinking that it was being said that the voters couldn't do that, and then I was
No, I think the whole concept here, looking at the big picture. So you have a charter, which is a set of rules and regulations and guidelines for operating a government entity. That charter at some point in time is put out to the public for a vote to accept or reject. If the majority of the public accepts it, we've seen charter amendments come up at every election, I think. It might be a city or a county charter or even a state charter. If that's adopted, then that becomes the new government rules and regulations, the way the government would be run. So for a city commission, or anyone else to enact an ordinance that is contrary to the charter would not be allowed. The charter always takes precedent because that is the will of the people as voted on during an election cycle.
Got it. And then Dennis, I see you have your hand up.
Jim, how about if we put the link to the charter in the minutes?
Not little.
The
I'll put the link to the charter.
charter?
Yeah, isn't there
Yeah.
a link to the charter?
Sure.
Yeah, I'll
Why
put
not?
that in the minutes.
I
Oh, the
think it's
link.
also on the charter board's website.
Okay,
But yeah, go ahead. I mean, I think
all right.
people should see this because it's going to come up, and it's going to come up when it's all voted on. The public, all of us, and they're going to be, the charter board will present to the council and to individual neighborhoods. There's going to be a lot of public presentations of the findings of the charter review board as the cycle kind of winds down. Once they come up with their recommendations, it all goes out to all of us. We talk about it. If they want to make further revisions, then that gets sent to the city commission. So there's a long process.
And I see Michelle Jenkins, you have your hand up?
Yes, what cycle are we in? It's 2024. When is the next time the charter will be reviewed again? Is it every so many years?
I think it really depends on the commission to some degree. I think the last time it was done might have been 2018. So I think it's usually done every 4 years so that it can come up. And the reason being, of course, is that things change. Our environment changes, laws change, the social environment we live in changes. So they try to be current with the changing environment. So I think the ideal scenario would be every 4 years.
Okay. Because I got the
just don't
feeling the
know that.
reason why, my personal opinion, this is coming up due to the way the last election was handled. And there were a lot of whatever the attorney was doing of talking to whoever won, who didn't win, waiting for the results. So I hope that is resolved in this charter review period.
I believe that it has come up on many times in the form
sure.
of does it fit into the charter the way things occurred?
Right.
And that was a topic when we were talking about the time of taking office after an election. It came up in the discussion, as I just mentioned, about the ordinances. You can't put an ordinance in prior to an election or after an election to change the charter, which is the governing document. Does that help answer your question?
Yeah.
But there's also other things. I mean, the topic of the last couple times, the topic of public land, how is that disposed of? Is public land, does that have to go to the public for a vote if somebody wants to build something? And the example of Bahia Mar came up. Public land is executive airport. Where does the public-private partnership fit into that matrix? So there's all kinds of other topics that come up, but certainly the election and how that was handled is very germane to the discussion.
Okay, I see that. I think it's Bill Brown. You have a question?
It's not a question, Jim. I think it's important to point out two things. Yes, you mentioned 2018 that it was last visited, and that was because of the commissioners going to 4-year terms. But if my memory serves me correctly, the last major revision of the charter was done in 1985. So they've really not taken an in-depth look at this charter since 1985. And it's also important to keep in mind that any and all recommendations will be voted upon by the commission, and they're the ones that vote to approve it to go to referendum to the voters. They could vote not to do it, or they could take anything or all recommendations out.
And just can them. Right, exactly. Yeah. Right. So that's the process that I was explaining.
Yeah. Okay.
Thanks, Bill.
All right.
I didn't realize it had gone back that far.
Yeah.
That's what I was told from the city attorney.
Wow.
Well, that's probably way too long, wouldn't you say?
That's way too long. That's
yeah.
way too long.
Well over 30 years. That's when I moved here. Okay, Michelle, are you done? You still have your hand up. I just want to make sure I'm
No,
not.
no, you can take it down.
Okay, well, no, you gotta do it. I can't do it. Same for you, Bill. All right. Thank you, Jim. That was good, and always enjoy going to those meetings with you. To my amazement, they're very they're interesting. That's for sure. All right, so getting close to being done. First of all, I hope you all had a chance to review the minutes that were sent out with the notice for this meeting. Are there any comments or corrections on the wonderful minutes that Dennis Ulmer has been doing for us? Anything? All right, do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
That was Marilyn, a second.
Second.
Seconded by Jim. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay, the minutes passed. Again, thank you, Dennis, for filling in for Kathy, who has still some family issues, and I appreciate you filling in for her. You're doing a great job, and I know doing the minutes is not the most fun job because I've done it myself in the past. Then lastly, I know I saw Melinda on here, and Melinda, do you need me to make you the host for the treasurer's report?
Actually, I am not, I'm on my phone. I don't know if I can share it. I may be able to share it. But I'm not sure if you actually can share it, Mary.
I don't have, is it one you just sent?
I have it.
I did it very recently.
Okay, wait, Jim, I just took you off host. Let me have Jim bring it up. And wait, Jim, I just messed you up here.
Okay.
Where did you go? Jesus, this thing makes me crazy. Here we go. Okay, Jim, you're back to host.
Okay. All right, you see it?
There you go. Yeah.
That looks great. Thanks so much, Jim.
Sure.
So yes, so just wanted to do the treasurer's report as of this membership meeting date, September 12th. We have in our two accounts, in the Truist primary business checking, we are now at 6,143.31. The council PayPal has 1,095.52. We did get one more membership payment, I believe, since the last membership meeting. And so our total in all accounts is at 7,238.83. The actual membership report, I sent an Excel, Mary, apologize. I know you wanted that earlier. We are at a total of 40 members, and the last two members to join were Coral Ridge Isles. We got their payment in August, as well as Dolphin Isles. So I believe that's District 1 and 2 respectively.
Okay.
And that's indicated on the Excel. So yeah, I will, we're at 40, still plenty of time for a number of folks to join. The report, which we can share on the website later, does show then how many people who are registered with the city who are still not members for fiscal 24 of the council.
Okay, and Melinda, I know you've been away, maybe you're still away. Is that membership log or that membership report you always do, is that attached to this document that Jim showed?
It's not actually, I wasn't able to attach it to combine it as a PDF, but it was sent to you guys, to the board, as a separate Excel.
Okay, all right, great. That way I can look at it and kind of reconcile it. So in October, I know who can vote. That's really what I need to know. So.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Okay. All right. Very good. And
Do you want to bring that up?
I don't have it, or
Oh, hang on, I have it. Just give me a second.
I'm not talented enough to go to my email and bring something up and
It's not opening.
all right. Well, we can always figure it out. I think, you know, we can look at it later. I don't, it doesn't sound like Melinda's home, so I don't wanna. Are there any questions from anybody about the treasurer's report at this point? Okay. All right. And we do not have to vote on the treasurer's report, so. Melinda,
there it
thank you
is.
very much. What? No, okay. And,
Oh, there you go. Yeah, he's got
there it
it
is.
popping up there.
All right,
Here it is.
okay. If you can send that to me as an Excel spreadsheet, I would really appreciate it.
You have it.
I do, okay, great.
Yeah.
I don't know what I have, but it's good to know.
Well, it
that-
just came in. It came in just before the meeting, I think. So.
Okay, yeah, I can never, once the meeting starts, I just can't look at stuff like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so apologies. Normally I do a combined PDF, but yeah, I just wasn't able to do that on my phone tonight. But but this is the just for the membership every month when we have the meeting, and actually at every board meeting, so twice a month I update this Excel spreadsheet, and it's normally PDF and attached. But the main change that you'll see, and this will be posted up on the website as usual, is that I've now added the district of each neighborhood into column C, just so that people are reminded, you know, which districts and, you know, have the most neighborhoods who have actually paid and who are members. And then what we did is that we have associations recognized by the city that have not paid by district number as well. And then just as a reminder to register with the city, there's another section which talks about associations that are not recognized by the city that are also not members.
Okay.
So there's it's a good source of information. I usually PDF it, but happy to provide in any format.
That would just, if you would, just so in case I need to manipulate it, just helps me.
Yeah, absolutely. So you have this, Mary, and apologize that I sent it right as the meeting was literally starting.
Well, let me tell you, I forgive you for not being able to combine 2 PDFs on your phone. I mean, oh my God. That's okay.
I should have been able to, but I was just a little bit stressed.
I can't believe that that's even a possible thing. So, all right.
Thanks, Melinda. I think this is really helpful. I've got it.
Oh, yeah.
I think you can see it. There's 4 for District 1 and a couple, I think 3 for District 2.
Yeah.
So,
Very helpful.
right. So for
And
the
look at that,
district
Vanessa,
reps.
you know, if you get elected, that's who does your work cut out for you. So, or whoever gets to be the district.
Wow.
So, I didn't mean to like jump the gun like that. I apologize. Okay. Thank you.
Oh, well, can I give a little plug? Just as treasurer and president of the downtown neighborhood, I know we've got president of Tarpon River on the call here, and president of Riverside Park. I'm not sure Estelle is there, but we're having a social breakfast social from 10 to 1 at the Fitz. It is Saturday, this coming Sunday.
Sunday.
17th. So, but yeah, Vanessa, correct me if I get it wrong. And it is a joint neighborhood social. We would love to have other neighborhoods join us. And it's at the Fitz, which is in Tarpon River. It's a great bar, and there's breakfast tacos as well.
And I can say I've been to that. I'm gonna drag my husband to it again. It's a lot of fun, and there's nothing like having a taco for breakfast.
And then homemade tortillas. And yes, it's very good.
Very good. It's good.
Yes, the
It's a lot
Yum
of
Food
fun.
Truck and the Fitz. So thanks for giving me 30 seconds for
All
a
right.
plug.
And if any of you others have like things like that, let us know. It's always good for all of us to get out of our own zip codes. So, all right. Is there any old business that anybody wants to bring up? Okay, I counted to 10. I see no hands up. And anything else anybody wants to bring up, or I think what that was like for the good of community, what they just brought up. And Rick, I see your hand.
I just wanted to ask if I missed something or somebody else understands what's going on, but is anybody else, and I don't want to get into politics or who did what or whatever, but I noticed that the 2 places that are being considered for the future police headquarters are in the the northernmost part of the city. And I just didn't quite understand what the logic would be of why we want the temporary police headquarters to almost be in Pompano Beach. Just my comment.
See my face? I'm afraid to say anything.
I understand.
If somebody else wants to say something, I would say be cautious. Michelle, I see your hand up.
Well, I'm an employee of the Fort Lauderdale Police Department, and I guess we're really trying to find a place to work. If there was any more locations other than that one to help us with the number of employees that we have, then I don't remember seeing any. So, we're not crazy about, all of us are not crazy about location either, but just trying to find a place that will house us.
Oh no,
Yeah.
I think we understand that. I think it's just
You see what I mean? Yeah, believe me, we've all been watching this as well.
Yeah.
So we're just trying to find a place to work.
No, I understand that's important. I just thought it was odd that the only two places they were looking at were within like a block of each other and both at the northernmost part of the city. So
I hear you.
I just thought
I
it was
hear
odd.
you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot. That helped. I just needed to say it.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, and we have Michelle. I want you to work in a nice place. That's for sure. We want all the police
Yeah.
to have what they need, and that's why the new building is going in and stuff. And I don't think anybody realized how difficult it was going to be to work next to that construction site. So, all right. Well, do I have anybody that wants to give me a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Christine Jones, a
Yes.
second. Did I hear a second?
I'll second.
Okay, that was, I don't know if it was Rick or Francesco. All right. I think all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
And you know what? We made it in under 2 hours. God bless us, everyone. And have a great
And
night.
we're home.
And we're home.
And we might have to repeat this in October, but if not, if we do, remember we're all going to be together October 30th on Las Olas. Again, any of you that don't live there, I don't. Good to get out of your own zip code and see what's going on somewhere else. And let me tell you, I sampled some of the food, delicious. So anyway, you all have a good night. Take care of each other. Stay well, please. All right. And thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Good night,
Good
everybody.
night.
Good
Good
meeting,
night.
Mary. A very good
Mary-
meeting. Jim,
Thanks,
so
Mary.
thank you.
Mary,
All
can you
right.
stay on a sec after the meeting closes?
Pardon?
Can I talk to you for a minute after the meeting closes,
Sure.
Francesco?
I'll leave it
So-
on here for a few minutes.
Okay, so when you called the roll, you called Lauderdale Isles twice, and a gentleman named Pizzle said he was here both times, but you didn't call for Laudergate Isles.
You're right. But I saw you and I marked it. I might have just said it twice by mistake.
Yeah, you said Lauderdale, and so
Yeah.
Pizzle answered both times, but
Yeah.
Laudergate Isles was here.
Yeah. I marked you.
Priestley, I'm here.
But you
Go
are
ahead.
right. I see it. I have it on here.
Priestley, that's it, Priestley. Okay, thank you.
Francesco, you just have a funny name. I'll just have to remember that. Not you, Laudergate. Okay.
Yes, Laudergate.
Okay. I got it. I did mark you as here. So I'm never forgetting.
Thank you.
Don't worry. All right. Thanks,
Thank
Francesco.
you.
But always correct me. I appreciate that. Okay.
Yeah, and I've got to check my checkbook. I noticed it says we haven't paid, but I remember bringing a check in a while back. Maybe what is
you
the
did.
time period of the current year that we're in?
No, you did. I remember you bringing it in. You're good.
But it said on that list you showed, the spreadsheet, that we're recognized, but we haven't paid dues.
Hang on.
Maybe we got mixed up with Lauderdale Isles.
Oh, no, I remember you. I actually really remember you coming in because. And well, I'll check on it because I do remember you bringing a check. I have he was paid. So I will be going through my.
Okay, thank you.
Melinda's, and we'll compare notes, so don't worry.
Thank you very much. Thank
Okay.
you.
All right, thanks. And thanks for checking.
Okay,
All
bye.
right. I see a couple other people have stuck on here. Anybody else have questions? Or you just don't know how to hang up, Steve?
Good one.
Okay.
Mary, Lauderdale Beach was here too. We joined late. You might have seen us, maybe not
Yeah.
Stephen Barbie.
I saw
Thanks.
you.
We didn't make the rule. Thanks a lot. Nice meeting. Well done.
All righty, good. It was a lot, but we got it done pretty good. That's the magic of Zoom. Yeah, I got you on here. Okay. All right, who else is hung around here for a minute? Abby, need anything, Abby? Or you just forget to hang up? Okay. Okay, Jim, you're muted. Oh, and actually, yeah.
I said we could just end the meeting. I think am I still the host or are you the host now?
I'm the host now. I realized at the very
you are.
bottom of participants, there's a button that says reclaim host. I can't tell you how many times I did that when you weren't screen sharing, just to see who was in the waiting room. Early.
I was getting the waiting room and then you took it back because I went to look and I couldn't see anything.
Yeah.
Because you took it back.
What
We got 'em.
happened is I think you might have been talking and now I'm getting text messages from Christine and Bill Brown and they're trying to get in. I went, oh, I can't see them because I'm not the host.
Well, they all came in at the same time.
Yeah.
And, you start clicking and
Yeah. Hmm. Hmm. All right, good meeting. I think when I get off, I think it records on my computer.
well, here, let's stop the recording.
But I think I have to
You're the host now. You have to stop it.
oh, yeah. But the only way I stop it is by end. Oh, stop the recording. Where are you?
Yeah, because I can't. You're the host.
Recording. Oh, here we go. Stop recording. You're sure
You'll
you
hear
want
it.
to stop recording to the cloud?
Yeah, right. That's good. That way it's not on your PC. So from there, we can transfer from that.
But it always downloads to my PC. Always.
Oh, well, I just when I hit it, I did the cloud deliberately so that you're going to get an email from Zoom saying that
Yeah.
you're recording. Yeah.
I would rather do it that way. That way I know if I put on the cloud.
Okay.
I know when I stop recording it, it'll say, okay, now we're recording or transferring it to your computer. It takes a little bit of time.
Yeah, a little bit, not bad. Yeah,
No, and then I can just upload it to our YouTube channel.
correct. You could probably upload it from the cloud to the YouTube channel.
Yeah, but I don't know how to do that.
Okay, we'll work on that.
Okay, all right.
We'll work on that.
Well, this will all be on the recording right now, so.
That's fine.
All righty. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Have a
That was
nice
good.
night, Jim. Thank you. That's good. We do a good job doing this tag team. So.
Yeah, it was a good meeting. It was a good
All right.
meeting.
All right. Have a good
Bye,
night.
Abby.
I don't think she's there.
I think she forgot to hang up.
I think that's a doll. A mannequin of Abby. Okay. All right. I'll talk to you later, I'm sure.
All right, goodbye.
Good night. Good night.